Thanks for joining me. My name is Benjamin J. Shepherd, and welcome to the new vlog episode here at the Bass with Benjamin YouTube channel. So I appreciate you sticking here with me and tuning in, and thanks for checking out the previous episodes as well. Really appreciate the comments and the messages that I've been getting. It definitely was nice to just talk about what's going on with bass solos, and also to hear from a lot of you your thoughts and opinions on how you felt that bass solos are treated as such. But now, let's this is the whole point of this vlog series is just to talk about various things that are on my mind about just playing the bass and the role of the bass player in music and in an ensemble. So this is just a really great outlet to just be able to communicate these ideas and thoughts to you all, and just to see what you all think about it as well. So this week, or this episode I should say, in this new week that we're starting right here, is all about just my thoughts on sight reading, or just reading music in general as a bass player. There's a lot of, let's say, differences in opinion about this, which is totally understandable. But I'm just gonna kind of talk about it from my perspective and just from my experience as a first call bass player in Los Angeles. I'll just say right here that the type of line of work that I've done the last almost 20 years has involved me being able to be a great reader, a great sight reader. Literally someone putting the charts in front of you and just go to the best of your abilities. Now, there's this argument of, like, if you sight read that and you're looking at the paper, that's the feel is gone, because now you're just literally reading and essentially just reading something and just playing it, and the other elements like the feel, the soul, the emotion is gone. And this is where it's like, okay, this is where you have to combine your intuition and your musicianship with the theoretical aspect, so to say, where you have to blend them both together. And I've had some people over the years say that, they didn't want to become a reader because they didn't want to lose their groove or their feel, or they felt that they wouldn't be able to be as creative. I understand where they're coming from, but I'd have to say that is not entirely true. I would say that if you thought in that mindset, that's a choice, as opposed to not wanting to do that. When I see people like Nathan East, John Patitucci, Jimmy Johnson, Anthony Jackson, there's so many people, even people like Vinny Colaiuta, Steve Gadd, any great musicians who were also great readers but had incredible feel, musicianship. They just had this whole package, right? That's what I was striving to be. Like, you can still read music and still make it feel like that you're not reading music. Even though you're playing what is written, there's still certain nuances that we as a musician are responsible for and still need to implement to make the music still feel and sound fresh. It's your job and your responsibility to liven it up. When you watch a symphony orchestra, they're reading everything note for note. They're following a conductor. They're playing as a unit, but it's not sounding like just stiff and stale and like there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of emotion, especially like if there's a soloist, like a violin soloist or a flute or any instrument that is with an orchestra. They're playing a solo that has been written out, that they've spent a lot of time learning note for note, but they're still putting their feeling, like their touch, their heart and soul into it to make sure that every single note is conveyed, and that the audience and the listener still gets to go on this wonderful journey. And so that's how I like to approach it when reading music, reading anyone's music, is that there are certain things that, yes, I'm going to put in it, and that's kind of an unwritten rule of what, as a musician, that you're expected to bring to the table. Like if you take someone like Steve Gadd, playing on those Steely Dan sessions, like Asia or something. He's literally reading a chart, like stuff that is written out. All the musicians are. But he's putting Steve Gadd into it. He's putting his thing, even though he's reading and playing the parts that are written. A few examples for me that really solidified and validated this whole thing for me was, I think the first time when I was 13 and I was playing in the backing band for one of our school choirs. It was a giant chorus of 200 people, and the piano player, he was also one of the music teachers at my school. His name is Martin Burdan. Great musician, piano player, and mathematician as well, on a pilot. But anyway, he would be sight reading all these piano accompaniment parts. But what I started realizing is that he's playing what's there, but he's also playing stuff that's not there. He's taking these piano parts and he's just tastefully adding in other things that kind of just lift it up. And how I noticed this was I'm following along with his charts of what he's playing and what is written there. And I noticed, yeah, there are certain things that he's just doing? But also if he wasn't there on one of the rehearsals and one of the other music teachers filling in for him, it'd be different because they're playing exactly what's written, and it wouldn't necessarily feel the same. But with this guy, Mr. Verdun, he just knew how to put in these tasty bits that just felt right. And then fast forward later on, I was playing a gig in LA at a place that's not around anymore, sadly, called the Blue Whale, and I was playing with a few musician friends, and John Patitucci was in town for that weekend, and I had met John a few times before, and we'd talked on the phone a couple of times, and so I texted him. I was like, "Hey John, I'm playing at the Blue Whale tonight. If you want to come by and hang?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, man. I'll be there." So he came by, and of course, when you have someone like that in the audience, what do? You got to get him off to play. And I was mainly playing upright that night, so he came up, played the Herbie Hancock tune, Dolphin Dance, with the band, and then after that, they're going, "Oh, what should we play next?" And we were playing a whole program of like original tunes, and some standards thrown in there, but it was mainly original stuff. And John said, "Well, we could play something that's on the music stand here." And usually when someone comes in to sit in, they're just gonna sit in and just play something that they know, that they're familiar with. They're not necessarily gonna just get up and play like something they've never played before. But John was like, "Sure, this is just," and I'm just like, "Oh, okay, what's gonna happen here?" So the band leader called a pretty complicated original tune. It was like this choro tune. Like it's it's a Latin tune, and it has very odd phrases going on and very complicated chord changes. So they counted it off. John put his reading glasses on and just started playing, and just fit right in. He's following the chart. He's doing his thing. The odd phrases and everything. It's as if he'd played the tune before. But he's just like sight reading, and there's no written bass line or anything. It's just literally a lead sheet. But even with something like that, they can still be complicated, just depending on how hard the tune is. And this is a very hard tune. So he's following along, and then he took this incredible solo over the tune. He just sight reading the changes, and he played this solo that just made just absolutely perfect sense. And I was just like absolutely just even more mesmerized. I mean, we all know John Patitucci as like one of the greatest, bass players and musicians. But this like really was like, first of all, okay, this just shows how much more amazing he is. And also just like, wow, he's able to just come in. First of all, he suggested, let's just play one of these tunes. I've never played it before. Well, let's have a go. Let's have fun. He suggested, let's do that, play it, and just like played the heck out of it. Like, I mean, that was just one of those instances where I was like, okay, this is where you can come in, you can sight read, and still make it sound so fresh and as if you've played the thing before. There was no loss in feel or emotion or anything like that. Like, he just did it. And so that was just so inspiring. And for those of you who might be thinking, I don't want to, reading is just, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I'm just telling you that it doesn't have to be that way. You can still have, you can combine them both, all right? You can combine what is written with your, style, your sound, your vibe, as long as you are serving the tune, that you are serving the song, and being a solution to what the band leader or the composer has put together. Essentially, the problem that they've put together is that they want their tune played, and they need musicians to play their tune. And you are one of those musicians, and so you're going to be part of that solution to do that. So be that solution. And I would say like 8 or 9 times out of 10, when I'm given something to play, most of the time the composer or band leader will say, yeah, just like play what's written there, but also just like do your thing. Like just make it more fun. Or the chart or whatever is just like a guide. Like, yes, there's going to be some written things there that you need to follow along that's important, like certain hits, rhythmic figures, maybe some unison lines that go along, and of course the form. That's really important to make sure you know where you are in the form. But a lot of times when there's like some parts that call for just that extra grease, like put in that grease right there. But like I said, that's from my experience, and again, the majority and the line of work that I've been doing as a bass player has required me to be able to be a proficient reader, so that I can just come in and just read the charts and just be that person who can just like hang and help the person's gig become a success. When they win, you win as well, and we can all win. So if you're thinking about wanting to get into reading music or becoming a more proficient reader, I highly encourage you to do so. It'll go a long way. You get a lot more work when you're a really good reader, But if you're going to be a reader, don't just like read everything with no feel. Like blend it together. It'll go such a long way. It's just a huge part of what we do as musicians. So, I hope that was helpful, more insightful. But yeah, it's just been something really important for me. And like I said, I was a terrible reader years ago, but you just practice it every single day. Look at transcriptions, follow along with the recordings, just that's how you can practice, participate in a choir, read with, ensembles with your friends, write stuff out, just have a go with that. Use your ears to match what you see on the paper as well. So as usual, what I do in these vlogs is I go through a different bass just to show you what I've got in my collection, just some really cool stuff that I have. But before I do that, I just want to let you know, for those of you who don't know, so Bass with Benjamin, this is my bass academy where I have, different types of courses, and I've got some courses in the works for, different types of topics for bass players and just for music in general. And, whether it's a technique thing or a musicianship thing, it's essentially, my academy with different resources to kind of help you become a better bass player. And right now I have a free course that is on offer. It's got over 2 hours of free lesson footage on just how you can like up your gig, opportunities. What do you have to do to prepare yourself if you want to become, a more, in-demand gigging bass player, or if you just want to start getting gigs as a bass player. Maybe you just stepped into this world of becoming, a musician, and you want to know what you can do to do that. As well as in this course, there's just some tips on how you can make your bass lines just sound a little more, juicier and just pop out a little more. So these are just things that, this is a free resource I've put together from the lessons that I've learned the hard way throughout the years in my career. And so I put this together because I don't want you to have to go through some of those hard lessons. You can just have this information right now. I mean, why struggle? You know, I want people to be able to, you know, achieve their goals and, you know, reach for their dreams, you know, right away. You know, there's none of this like, you know, like waiting around, like, you know, struggling. Like, if I can help you, that's what I'm here to do. So you can click on the link below in the description to get that free course, as well as I have some other courses on offer. You know, I have one all about bass chords. I have a basic music theory accelerated chords. You can just click on these links down below. And I now offer bass coaching, one-on-one bass coaching program. So if you want to get into a bass coaching program with me, you know, we'd be working like almost every week, and, you know, we'll get to know each other and just work on specifically what it is that you're wanting to get to. And so I highly encourage that. If that's something you want to get into, you can click down below on the link for one-on-one coaching programs with yours truly. So yeah, that's what's going on with Bass with Benjamin. Now, what's going on with this bass right here? So as I played a little bit in the beginning, and you can see that, okay, is there like a Fender vibe going on? Yes, there is a Fender vibe. And for those of you who know, yes, I've been a true and proud endorser of Ibanez basses for the last 13, almost 14 years now, actually. They've been a great company. All my basses are Ibanez basses, except the upright. They don't make upright basses. But, you know, as well as having these wonderful modern basses that some of you have seen, you know, I also do value the vintage style basses, and also wanted to have those in my collection as well. And what's really cool, back in the 70s, Ibanez made, you know, these vintage basses, and they're essentially just copies of, you know, like Fenders and Gibsons. There's a Rickenbackers, and I think they even made an Alembic copy as well, which, you know, one day I'd love to get my hands on. But I think in the last vlog episode, I showed you my 1977 Ibanez Challenger PJ bass. So this week, this is my 1975 Ibanez Jazz Bass. And this is just a straight up, you know, 1970s jazz bass copy. It's got that whole vibe. Person, but you know, I'm gonna work on getting my slap chops back up to speed. But it gives you that 70s vibe, you know. That's, you know, we think of Marcus Miller, we think of Larry Graham, we think of lately I've been thinking of Terry Lewis, you know, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. He's definitely was a huge 70s jazz bass kind of guy. Geddy Lee. I mean, there's so many cats I could name. But what's going on with this bass? So, really cool. I'm pretty sure this is just the... I think it's ash. I really don't know, and I could be totally wrong. I'd have to get it checked out properly just as to what the woods are. But definitely maple neck and fingerboard going on, so it definitely gives you a very bright, snappier tone. The block inlays are really cool, and it's got the black binding on the sides. You know, just that really typical 70s touch right there. Of course, you know, the Ibanez, their vintage logo, which is really cool. And then what I did so I got this bass back in 2011. I got it off of eBay for an absolute steal, which was really cool. And it was in decent playing condition. There was some work that could be done to it, but in due time I got that taken care of. But it was absolutely ready to play. I could play it on gigs, and I did. I actually took it out on tour with me with David ACCELERATOR for his Christmas tour of 2011. I took 3 basses with me, but this was one that I took on that tour, and it just sounded incredible. I did change out the pickups on it because even though they both worked, for some reason the bridge pickup stopped working. It was probably a wiring thing inside. I'm not sure, but I had another bass at the time, which was a Fender Jazz Bass fretless, and it came with Lindy Fralin basses. It was a secondhand bass that I got, and so I took those pickups out and I put them in here. So these are Lindy Fralin pickups, and they're just absolutely just amazing pickups. Just that beautiful vintage style sound. And then I've made a few modifications over the years. I put a hip shot bridge on here just to have something a little more solid, a little more robust. I still have the original bridge somewhere. Somewhere I have it. It was just the saddles were kind of just slipping and sliding a little too much, so I just wanted to have something that's just going to be solid, I could just rely on. And then I also added a hip shot drop D tuner on here, just so I could have that ability to just go down. Drop D, which has definitely been handy, and I always wanted to have a bass that had a drop D on it. So that's really cool. Anything else going on here? Oh, I put these I put the chrome P-bass knobs on here. I had the plastic black ones that I swapped over onto my PJ Challenger bass, and I put those knobs on this one, so it actually gives a really cool vibe to it. And then a few years ago, Ibanez, they refretted the whole bass for me. The frets were pretty worn, and so they did a whole refret on this thing. And when I got it back, it just felt and just sounded amazing, and it's been like that ever since. It's just such a versatile instrument, gives you that 70s funk. It gives you that 70s, vibe to it. You roll the tone down a bit and you can just darken up. And being a 70s bass, the bridge pickup is in the 70s jazz bass position, so just a little bit closer to the bridge. That's why you get that 70s sound. I prefer the 60s bridge position sound. That's my thing. But in my collection, I wanted to have a 70s sound that gives that 70s jazz bass sound. So this does it, but the bridge pickup, neck pickup, it gives you that warm, tubby, P bass sound. yeah, I absolutely love this bass. It's just been something that's totally different to what I typically play. You know, the six string is, and the fretless, but it serves that purpose of, yeah, just if I need that sound or that vibe, I have it there, and it responds well with my effects as well. And through a bass rig, I mean, this thing just absolutely shines. It just really sings. There's been several, notable bass players who have, had a jam on this bass and have even offered to just buy it on the spot as well. And I've always said, nope, this thing is staying with me. So yes, a really special instrument. I absolutely love it. If you can find something like this, sometimes you see them floating around on Reverb or eBay. They're definitely worth snatching up. It's very authentic for what it is. It's made in Japan. And yeah, really fun, easy to play. Sounds incredible. But I think that's it for this episode of the vlog, and I appreciate you all for tuning in and just checking this out, and let me know what you think. Sight reading or any other topic that I've covered, and maybe if there's something that you'd like me to talk about. I'm always open for suggestions. But also, please don't forget to, ding the bell or hit subscribe. Is there any other thing? Or like this as well, comment and all that. And you can also follow me on social media as well, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. Those things right there. But thank you again. I appreciate you tuning in. It's always great to talk about bass and music. But yeah, I always look forward to hearing from you all. And again, links are in the description if you want to get my courses, or if you want to start a bass coaching program, one-on-one coaching program with me. You can click down below and help yourself. And I'm always here to help you out with whatever it is bass-wise that you need. Okay, take care. I'll see you next time. All right, peace.